Couple of years down the road, you are at the grand reopening of an Applebee's.
Is this a specific Applebee's or
Yeah, so this was sort of like like a lost Applebee's, that they
what?
had. So they had this Applebee's in Los Angeles, but through mismanagement and stuff like that, it eventually went out of business.
Oh,
And
lost in that regard.
originally, yeah, but then like after a few years, like they realized, like, well, where's that building? But the building's
It would
back.
have a fucking address. People were getting W-2s.
This is like after a few years, like it goes out of business, and then it just sort of is forgotten about. You
Goes
know what
out
I
of
mean?
existence.
That's what some people say. Like there's a couple of like homeless people who live in like the vacant lot down there, and they say that the building's just been gone, but everyone else is like,
So is the lot, but the lot is there, but the physical structure of the building is disappeared.
yeah, the vacant lot is across the street.
But where's the lot? So is the lot? I'm confused at what's missing. Is it like the actual numbered address is just gone, or is the lot there, but the building has been demolished and
So,
removed?
so the vacant lot is by itself. It's across the street from where the Applebee's was. And
So
so
the Applebee's and the lot that it existed on no longer exists.
essentially, yeah. That's what I mean. That's what the people, the homeless people living there say. They
But they
swear it
they
actually.
live there.
They live in the vacant lot, yeah. The vacant lot isn't connected to the Applebee's at all. It's across the street. So it's basically the homeless people there who live down there are like, yeah, like they could swear that the building actually disappeared a few years after it went out of business. Most people are like, no, that makes no sense. It was definitely there.
But what's in place? What's in its place?
That's the thing is when you ask them about it, they start looking like very nervous.
What the fuck, Pat? What's going on with this lot? Is it there or is it not?
They say it's back, baby.
I'm
So
so fucking confused.
so they do a like a grand reopening. They're like, oh, this is like, they call it the lost Applebee's. It's almost like they view it as Atlantis resurfacing, a lost continent, but for, the bees.
They just got a
And
staff spun up real quick.
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's been in the works for a little while. And you are part of the Applebee's rewards program where
Okay.
they keep track. This whole time, they've kept track of every customer who has ever been to an Applebee's.
Okay.
And they've determined that you haven't been there the most, but your spending there is in like the top 5%.
My friends and I would always go to the Applebee's in Waterloo, Illinois,
Yeah, of
and I was always like buying a queso for the table with beef. Water's warm, take a dip. That's what I would
course.
tell them when it showed up every single time. And then I had whatever I was getting, but there was always a queso and chips there for the table.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could see like I probably had a higher ticket count than somebody who was just going in there getting a single entree.
Yeah. You were never been a single entree boy when it comes to the bees. You
I mean, I'm
actually,
not eating multiple entrees. I'm buying an appetizer for the table, for God's sake.
and you remember your days back in, where'd you say it was?
That Applebee's is in Waterloo, Illinois,
So you remember those days of
the
Waterloo.
seat of Monroe County.
You think of Napoleon. But you remember being there and being and saying to people, "Hey, water's warm, take a dip." Grabbing,
Yeah,
your fucking chips, dipping it in, and just loving
man,
the taste of that beef and queso in your fucking mouth.
I had some really good times at an Applebee's with my best friends. I'm
Yeah,
getting a little emotional right now.
sure. Especially like you kind of start remembering that and remembering all the pals that you would go with. You remember that
Yeah.
one time you did your classic line, and people made a point to bring someone new to the bees with you every single time that you and your crew would go.
When like girls started dating my friends,
Yeah.
it was kind of like, yeah, you it was like a rite of passage. You know, you come around, you come to the bees. You know, they
Right.
got half off appetizers. They had like $1.50 beers,
Yep.
and we just go there and hang out. And then the cops would eat there too.
So you
They
every
only ate
time
there because some guy jacked off in the ranch at the Denny's they would always go to. And then they felt the need to eat at a different restaurant. But a guy, that was a story.
dang,
The guy jacked off in their ranch.
their own personal Waterloo.
Yeah.
So you fucking they always like made a point like yeah whenever they started like dating girls or hanging out with new people whatever even like well into college when you guys were still you know you guys would still make a point to get together
Yeah.
at the Waterloo Applebee's
Yeah.
because you think and you guys and people would always go like how come you guys keep going back to this same Applebee's and you guys would say the exact same thing every single time. You'd say because some things matter in this life.
Yeah. It was like a 25, 30-minute trip for some people
Yeah.
to make that there and back. It was a very special time.
You remember one time the reason that like they'd keep bringing like new people around is because they knew that you were gonna order some chips and
Yeah.
queso, most likely with beef, and you were gonna
Oh,
do that,
every time with beef.
and you were gonna say the line,
Water's warm, take a dip. You had to
and
mix the beef in first,
of course,
and then
and
the water
so
was warm.
like your friends would be like on like the edge of their seat once you guys sit down. Like you see that like some of them have like visibly like started like flushing, you know what I mean? Like their face turning
Like they're
red
ready.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The waitress comes over, gets your order, and you round of drinks and stuff. She turns and walks away. You see like all your friends, even though like they're able to hide it from like the other people that you're there with, they look a little disappointed. They look a little like deflated. You turn, you go, "Oh, ma'am, I'm sorry." She turns around. Yes? You go, "I'll get some chips and queso. Add some beef." You turn, you look at your crew. Even though there's like several of them, it's like you're looking at all of them in the eye at once, and you go,
Yeah.
"It's for the table."
Oh, they know.
She
They
brings
know.
out, she puts in the order. Yeah, actually, like when you walked in, the cook in the back saw you come in, and he just started frying that beef right away. So like when
He
she
knew.
goes,
Yeah, he knew.
she puts the order in, and then it's ready like to her immediately. So she's kind of like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck?" So she brings it over. You're talking to your buddy's new gal, um, Jessica Tinley.
Okay.
She Jessica Tinley. She was there. You guys were like kind of talking, and you had hung out. You guys had all hung out a few times. So by this
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
you guys had like a little rapport together.
Sure.
And so the waitress comes over and drops the drinks off and gets the appetizer, gets everyone's order, and she's like, "All right, I'll leave you to it." And so you mix the beef in. You look up. She's looking at you. You go, "The water's warm. Take a dip." And with one smooth, controlled motion, you grabbed your chip and you just dipped it and you dipped it deep. Every
Oh,
single time that you did your first dip of the evening, you
I'm not
always,
pulling up that much. Come on.
but the thing is that every single time you did it, the first dip of the evening would always be the largest chip. You pulled it
The
out
deepest one.
every single time. It just so happened that you didn't even look sometimes. You would just grab it. You're not trying to do it, but every single time you would manage to grab the biggest chip in the fucking bag and you would dip deep, you know, like you're
The
trying.
biggest ship gets the deepest dip.
And that's what you said. And you kind of have like a flashback to doing it because the thing that you remember the most is just the laughter, you know. Hers, of course, was surprise. Everyone else's was just, you know, like knowing, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone takes like, you know, a deep dip of, you know, themselves. Uh the thing that you remember though is that one of the chips like fell out of the bag into it and it like sank to the bottom
Oh man, overboard.
and you could swear you heard it scream
A chip, Matt?
as it
A
drowned.
tortilla chip?
Yeah, it drowned at the bottom of the
Matt, it doesn't have lungs.
at the bottom of the beef and queso.
It's fried corn.
So you kind of later on that woman goes on to marry the mayor. So anyway,
The girl my friend is seeing
yeah,
goes on to
I mean
marry
this is, you know, like years later, yeah.
Jessica Tinley.
Yeah, Jessica Tinley. So you kind of have like
Well,
this
good for
like
her.
flashback to the dip thing, and like you hadn't thought about that in like you didn't like all of a sudden you can remember the scream and the way that you could swear that you heard and almost you could feel the queso like filling its lungs, you know what I mean, and dying, and so
What lungs, Matt? It's a fucking chip.
so you kind of have like this weird kind of like jolt for a second, but you're like, oh, whatever. So you're part of the Applebee's rewards program, and you are in the top 5% of the earners.
Just
And
that's just regular ARP.
yeah, however, because of your standing, they call you a platinum
I have a
member.
standing
Yeah,
with Applebee's.
you have a platinum card with the Applebee's Corporation. Yeah,
Man,
and what it means is you get exclusive deals sent to you.
how
They
exclusive are we talking?
I mean, hey, you made it to the fucking grand reopening, didn't you?
I mean, yeah, but like, is that how many people got that offer?
Well, look, I mean, it only fits about, you know, at best, like, you know, 200 people at a time.
And is the place filled?
Oh, it's filled to the brim. I mean, there is the only way you can get in there is if you know someone. It's opening night. You know what I mean?
So did I get a plus one or was it a solo trip?
Solo.
Okay. So if I'm
I
getting a
mean,
solo trip,
the GM is like, look, I mean, I can't get my friends in here tonight. You
okay,
know?
I'm just asking,
Yeah.
hey, if it's a solo trip, then I can presume there's probably 200 people in this platinum club.
He's smoking a cigarette outside of the building. He looks a little like
It's
frazzled because there is a
it's
line
okay.
around the fucking block.
I've been to an Applebee's. I know it can take a while.
Right. You can see that like visibly kind of calms him down a little bit. He's like, "Thanks, man."
We're all here because we want to be here. I get it.
And in the email that they sent you, giving you the official invitation to the grand reopening of the Lost Applebee's, they're like, also the staff of Waterloo says hello, and there's like a photograph included of all of the like the wait staff and the cooks and stuff like that.
Okay. That's nice.
They still work there all these years later. It's
Oof.
the exact same crew.
What an anomaly.
It looks like they haven't aged at all, except for like
Okay, that's weird.
except for like one guy who was like when you remember him as like a teenager, but like in this photograph, he definitely looks like an old man. Other than that, everyone else looks great.
What the fuck?
So you're leaving the Applebee's, and you kind of like are feeling good. You were in a very good mood. You
Okay.
know, you just got to this Applebee's that is the talk of, you know, the casual dining scene of Los Angeles. People are going to be like, oh, that's crazy that you got to go there. Oh, like that Applebee's they reopened, like that one that was like, that people say was lost for a while. That's crazy. So, and they had some, you know, they had all the classics ready for you. Like when you sat down, they had beef and queso dip waiting for you.
That's like a shared thing. That's like a thing I share with my friends. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
fucking house this entire thing of beef and queso.
So the server who's taking care of you, his name is Kyler. He's like he goes I, he goes, I didn't say you were eating it alone, my friend. You're like, what the hell? And he goes, come on in, guys. And like all of your friends from Waterloo
Oh
that
man,
they used to go to, they all like come in. They're like, Aaron. And you're like, what the fuck? And he's like, look, we would do anything. You're like, holy shit. Thank you. They flew these guys in, they put them up for a hotel for a night. They're like, hey, we do anything for a platinum member.
that's insane that they're flying out several of my friends
Yeah.
to
You actually
come.
you get a tattoo, 5% on your arm inside the shape of like an apple, the
No,
Applebee's
I'm not.
logo,
I'm not doing that, Pat.
because you're like the top 5%.
I'm not doing that.
We already
I'm not doing that.
we already did.
I would not do that. I
Well,
would not do that.
well, they gave it to you for free because like that's
I
also
don't
part
care.
of the
I don't
benefits
care,
package.
Pat. I don't care. I'm not gonna tattoo a 5% Club Applebee on my arm.
They give you a temporary one to try it out, and you slap it on, and you ultimately like decide not to get it, but you are tempted.
There's no fucking way.
So you just like as also a platinum member, they actually send you a new one whenever the old one fades. So you don't actually have a real tattoo, but every day you reapply like a temporary tattoo.
I'm not doing that either. I'm not doing that either. I would not do that
So
just
you
to
go
proclaim that I'm a top 5% spender at Applebee's. That's the last fact I want anyone to know about me, let alone one that I'm going to put on myself every day as a temporary tattoo.
well you hide it, where a place where people can't see.
Then why am I fucking doing it, Pat?
Because tattoos aren't necessarily for the world to see. It's for you to express yourself. It's for
Why am I
you.
expressing that I am a top 5%er at Applebee's? I don't want
I'm just telling you what happens.
this
So
fucking sucks.
so you're in such a good mood
No, I'm not.
walking back home that you like just maybe it's because you like just had the perfect reunion with your pals and the best cheese quesadilla that you've had at an Applebee's in quite some time. But you
Okay.
are just in a you just feel like touched.
Yeah,
You're a little emotional.
sure.
And
I'm an emotional man.
maybe that's why you just as you walk home in the underneath the so there had been like a blackout earlier. However, like it just so happens that the lights started coming back on as you were like walking home. So
Like
you were
I'm in a
just
fucking freezer section at a grocery store.
yeah, except with like street lights and also people's homes and stuff. So
Their home. Oh
yeah.
my God.
So this happens and you're like, whoa, and you just start like scat singing. You just start going skip ba 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 doo ba 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 dee ba da da ba da da. I'm not as good as you, but you
Why the fuck am I doing this?
you're just in a I don't know, you just feel the need to scat. And
I'm not in a scatting mood.
no, you absolutely are. And so
Oh,
after that, for a few weeks, you just start getting really into scat singing.
what?
You you start going on like you start doing like lessons and stuff. Like you go on like YouTube, uh, and they have like people teach passing on scat wisdom, and they teach you. They're like you're the main guy that you learn from is this scat YouTube personality. He's like, hey, it's me, Scatty Steve, and I'm here to teach you about the natural.
Patty, Steve.
Yeah, his name is Scatty Steve Barino, and he's like he's like universally seen as he is the top scat instructor on YouTube today.
Catman.
Yeah. He's like, I knew the scat man. He's like, that guy practically saved my life. That's his whole thing. It's like he had a life, he lived a life of crime, violence, and uncertainty. And then one day he heard, coincidentally enough, he was also leaving an Applebee's. He heard the scat man. And it was like, he was like, something about it. Then things clicked for me. And that's when I realized that the scat world is the world for me. He like explains all this in the video. The first video ends. He's like, all right, so check out my website, scatlover.com, and you'll see all the stuff that you need on there. See you next time, Scatterinos. And then episode 2 starts, and he's like, all right, do not go to that website. It will lead you somewhere else. He's like, didn't know. I am sorry.
He had no
Anyway,
idea. He had no idea.
no idea. He thought because he did scat lvr.com, but he just like he's not very computer literate, so he just thought it was scatlover.com spelled normally. So he's like, I am so sorry about that. That was horrible, guys. Just forget the whole thing. I'm just gonna keep everything on YouTube. So
Imagine if he was Scat Lever. You know
so he is, he teaches you
what did I just say? I don't know. Never
scat
mind.
scat lever. So he teaches you like, the fundamentals of scat singing. He teaches you how to, he calls it, he's like, I'll teach you how to blow overall like the standards.
Come on.
That's
This guy is so unfamiliar with all this innuendo.
well, that's how like, and then like the next episode, he's like, all right, he's like, look, that's just how like people who play the saxophone put it. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Like, I'm sorry, I keep messing this up. I'm sorry, guys. Like, he just doesn't realize. And
These are gonna get taken down.
so you start getting very into it. You wake up,
I don't like this.
you go to work, you come home, and you scat sing, and you're like, and you're thinking about putting together, like you're saving up money to do like an album. You've decided,
No, no.
and it's called I'm into this
I'm
music,
into this.
music from and inspired by the hit motion picture. I'm into this. So
The Jennifer Garner vehicle.
yeah, so there's some songs that are in the movie. There's a few songs that are inspired by it. Um, but I mean, you haven't put it together yet, obviously. But you're starting to get pretty good. You're starting to get pretty good. Uh,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good I get at this because it's still scatting. Nobody's gonna give a flying fuck about this. If I become the best scat man in the world, nobody will ever fucking care.
yeah, but Aaron, you don't scat for other people. You you don't scat for the masses. You scat for yourselves. You scat for the scat heads out there who never gave up on this movement. They never gave up.
Scatterbrains. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's the name of the of this website that features all the hottest news in modern scat.
Yeah,
Um,
I bet they're filling that motherfucker up every day.
there's a thing up top that says do not go to scatlovers.com. So but however, when you go to it, like you realize that it's like a hyperlink. Like you can actually click
Oh
it. And it'll
no.
it'll it'll take you
Oh
to it.
no, of course it does.
So they have like website. They have like different resources for stuff like that on the
Like,
scatterbrains. So
like block that website from loading. Let's try. Do not.
so you're like, you feel like it's starting to kind of take over a little bit, but in a way that's very pleasant, in a way that you remember. It's like the way you fall in love with a new creative thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think to
What?
yourself,
That's a very fun experience.
it's like taking on a new lover. So there you see like there's like a you see on Scatterbrains that there is a upcoming like scat contest, and the winner will get to record an album with the number one like scat producer in America.
Number one of one.
I'm not saying that, yeah, I'm not saying there's a lot, but there's a few. Um,
Okay, but
and
this is something that I would be into.
oh yeah, like at this point, this is like something that it's the main thing that you think about these days. You know what I mean?
Oh no, that's too much.
You're hanging out one day, there's a knock on the door. What do you do?
I go, skibbity bop and bop boop bop boop bow, who's there?
You hear from the other side of the door a silence so crushing that for a second you're like, "Oh no!" But then you hear someone go, "Uh, hi, night mail. Just dropping some. Just I'm just gonna drop something off. I'll okay, see ya." And you hear them like run back to there. What do you do?
I take a moment to recognize how off-putting my new talents are, and I get my night mail.
You go outside, and there's like just a little envelope. You bring it inside, close the door. Um, you open the envelope, and like kind of greenish white like beam of light comes out of it, and
What the fuck?
it shoots out of the envelope, and you see in front of you materializing out of the greenish white light in front of you in your living room are like several like figures.
What the fuck, man?
And you kind of like blink and like rub your eyes because you're like, what the hell? This can't be. At first, they're just like shining orbs of light, but eventually they turn into something that your eye can finally actually see. And standing in front of you is like a gorilla, an orangutan, a mandrill, and like what appears to be like a weird caveman looking guy. The gorilla steps forward. He goes, and also, but like they're wearing like clothing, except for the caveman looking
Yeah,
guy. He actually is dressed just like Fred Flintstone,
he's
except
wearing
he
like a
has
dress.
yeah, but he has like a club, but he has like shaggy crazy ass hair, and he's like pretty dirty.
Okay.
The gorilla steps forward and he goes, "Hello, Aaron. We are the primate princes."
Oh Lord.
He goes, uh, "I'm Gary." Anyway, he goes, "Aaron, just 2 seconds of your time." So he goes on to explain to you that they're all from like alternate dimensions where primates can talk and have free will and stuff like that. And so they're like, look, they go on to say that they're coming from these alternate dimensions. Every alternate dimension that they've come from, even though things are going to be bound to be different in each reality, they have one thing in common. Every single one, their home reality has been destroyed, and they are like by the Lanalax Corporation, and they are like fleeing from like space to space, basically. And
Well,
they're
what the
like,
fuck are they doing here? Where they are? Wouldn't you want to be as far away from here as possible?
well, this is like a new reality. And so the mandrill steps forward. He's like, "Hello, Aaron." He goes, My name is Hugh Hugh Newman. Anyway, he's like
Hugh Newman.
Hugh Newman. He's like he's like Aaron. Look, we have very limited amount of time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give you the spiel. He's like, we have some technology that we were able to steal from the Lanalax Corporation. We don't fully understand it. Some of us come from more advanced places than others. He kind of like nods at like the Neanderthal guy, who's at this point is just sort of like staring straight ahead at you. He's just not really reacting to anything, you know.
Sure.
um, he's Hugh Newman continues. He's like, yeah, so even I'm from the most scientifically advanced reality, and I can't figure this thing out fully. All I know is that we can use it to travel different planes of existence that are being targeted by the Lanalax Corporation. He's like, Aaron, I don't have a lot of time right now, but we need you to throw the competition. He's like, the orangutan steps forward. He's like, hey, Aaron, I don't actually have a name, but if you don't, he's like you have to throw the competition. Okay, it's like you're entering it today, but we don't have enough time to explain how or why. But if you enter this competition and win, he's like that is the first step to the Lanalax Corporation destroying this reality.
What do I set to win if I win this competition?
You get to record
Oh, yeah, that
the
scat
record.
with the guy.
Yeah,
I go, look, this is the only thing I care about. How does me recording an album lead to the downfall of humanity?
the Neanderthal guy speaks for the first time. He goes, "Duh, it's the butterfly effect, Aaron."
Fucking hate this guy.
So the orangutan guy is like, look, we're gonna have to fade away. We have to kind of conserve our energy for a little while, but please, like we you can't win, Aaron, 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 Aaron. They all fade away. The Neanderthal guy farts, but the fart doesn't fade away. It smells very bad. So the competition is happening in like 30 minutes. What do
Yeah,
you do?
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Those people just fucking shot out of an envelope into my life. That guy farted and left it and it smells awful. They're fucking rude. You can't ask somebody to throw a thing that they love without giving any explanation. Maybe next time, don't send the Neanderthal if he's gonna fart in my room. Give me a little more time with the other rational fellas.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that. I'm going to win.
So you enter the competition and you are killing it.
Yeah.
There's several rounds. There's the standard round where you perform a scat standard.
Okay.
The next one is improvisation. They throw a tune at you that you may or may not know, and they see how how you blow over it.
Gross.
And then round three is the round three. You take the Pepsi challenge, and then round four is freestyle.
What is
And
the Pepsi challenge?
the Pepsi challenge is you're blindfolded. You take a sip of
Oh, okay,
what's
gotcha. That
Coke
kind of.
or Pepsi, and you kind of choose blind. You do a blind taste test.
I think I could do that.
Yeah. Well, it's not like which one do you think is which. It's like which one is better. It's just sponsored by Pepsi. So you do the Pepsi challenge, and Pepsi wins every time.
My family was always a Pepsi family growing up.
Yeah. When you take a your first sip of Pepsi during the Pepsi challenge, you're blindfolded. You feel all your senses have been like heightened to make up for the fact that you can't see anything. And when that first drop of Pepsi hits that dry fucking tongue of yours. For a moment, it's almost like you're taken back to a particular summer that you called the summer of Pepsi. That was a summer where you every morning there would be a crossword puzzle in the daily Dupo newspaper, and one and like no one could ever solve them except you did it like one morning. You just happened to just be in the zone, and so it would be like the crossword puzzle would be like one across, like who is the first president of America, and you're like America. Why? That's George Washington, and you just like wreck shop, dude. And the prize was you got a year's supply worth of Pepsi for free, and you drank so much Pepsi that summer that
Man,
you actually burned through it in like 2.5 months. So you called it the
what?
summer. You called it the summer of Pepsi.
Yeah, that sucks.
You snap back to the Pepsi challenge, and you're like, holy shit! And so round four comes up. It's freestyle. You were down to the final remaining contestant besides you. You haven't seen him go like you know do it yet. You haven't really
Yeah,
been. You've just been too focused on your own performance,
yeah.
And so you walk up, and the first thing that you're kind of like you notice about this guy is his like shock of like blonde hair. You know what I mean? He looks like a total '80s villain. This guy,
Okay.
and he looks at you and he's like, "What's wrong, Aaron? Don't recognize me?"
Oh no.
And you're like, holy shit, Brian Stevenson Jones.
God damn it.
Brian Stevenson Jones was your bully in high school.
Yeah,
He just kind of made your life, I'm not going to say a living hell, but he was definitely just an asshole to you. And not only to you, he was a lot of people's bullies. A lot of
yeah,
people say that when he was like a younger guy, he was actually like kind of sweet and like wasn't, at least wasn't the jerk that he eventually grew up to be. But his father remarried, and him and his wife decided to hyphenate their last name. So his name was Brian Stevenson, and then after his father got married, he became Brian Stevenson Jones. It was hyphenated, and people called him the hyphen, and it just burned him up. There's definitely some other stuff involved. That's not,
yeah, yeah. It
but
can't be just that.
man, that was definitely a part of it. And so the judge, do you say anything to him after he says, "What? You don't remember me?" You realize it's Brian Stevenson Jones,
I go, yeah, the hyphen. I remember you. You were an asshole to so many people.
and he goes, "We'll see who's the asshole after today,
I go,
Brooks."
you were the asshole. You were a real asshole to a lot of people. And I hope that that haunts you every day, that you made people's lives miserable for no fucking reason. I hope you have a hard time sleeping at night because of what you did to people. Fuck you.
He pulls out his earbuds. He goes, "What?" The referee's like, "All right, here we go, round
Doesn't
four,
matter.
freestyle. Do it." Brian Stevenson Jones just starts like doing a an acapella scat,
Yeah.
and it's pretty good. It's very rhythmic. You hear one of the judges be like, "Oh, it's like listening to a young Sonny Rollins." You don't know who that is, but you feel like it's a good thing. Finally, he's done, and people are just they said like hold your applause till the very end, but people
They
are just
didn't.
like standing
They
ovation.
couldn't.
They couldn't.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
He looks at you, he goes, "Follow that, fuck face."
Suck my dick. That's what I tell him. Right before I walk out there, go, suck my dick.
He
Hyphen.
he pulls out his earbuds. He goes, "What?" The referee's like, and go. And you just like look out into like the packed rafters, of
Yeah.
people, and you see like sitting in the crowd are like the different the primate princes, but they're all wearing like trench coats, you know what I mean, and like top hats and shit.
Yeah, nondescript. Yeah.
The Neanderthal just doesn't. He's just as is.
Stinks.
Yeah. What do you do? Do you throw it or do you go for
Yeah.
it? Gary the gorilla does this thing where he kind of like does like a knife across, not like a finger across the throat, like, dude, come on. He mouths to you.
I I let it rip.
So
And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
yeah,
There's got to be some fucking reason why. You can't tell me this 30 minutes in advance of this thing that I've been looking forward to for how long and expect me just to give it up.
right. So you step forward and it's just like you're hanging out with the Waterloo crew. You are making eye contact with the entire fucking crowd. You open up your mouth, you open up your heart, and you go, can you take me higher? And the whole crowd's like, they're all like, oh my God, what is this leading to? And then one of the light fixtures from hanging
What
from
the
the
fuck?
top comes loose and lands on your head.
Great. Who fucking cares? Are you
It
kidding
crushes
me?
it crushes your skull immediately.
I
And
went
you
along with this. I really leaned into it.
yeah, and you fucking died.
Yeah.
Um suddenly this happens and then all
Yeah.
as you fall to the ground you kind of like do the thing where like you fall to like your knees, you know what I mean, and there's just so much blood, and the primate princes all like they go, yeah, they all like jump up, and the crowd realizes that there's like a bunch of like intelligent primates there or whatever, and everyone's like, oh my God, and they're like and the last thing that you see before you die is them like turning on everybody and killing all the witnesses
Oh,
there.
Jesus Christ. Are you
Brian Ste-
fucking serious?
Brian Stevenson Jones is the only one to survive.
God damn it.
He gets away scot free.
That
You
fucking sucks.
as a result you forfeit, and he ends up winning.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. I guess I forfeit, Pat.
He records an album called Fuck Aaron Brooks.
God damn it.
And it is universally seen as the scat record of the year.
Fucking cares.